Hey guys, hopefully everyone is doing well. Today's target is to solve question number 13.7. The chapter which we are related with is leverage and capital structure. Specifically, we are related with break-even analysis. In last few questions, we have learned how to calculate break-even units, and we have seen the effect of different changes upon break-even point. This question especially relates with the same changes. We will see that if number of units are altered, if sale price is altered, if variable cost is altered, what would be the impact upon break-even point? So here, let's start reading our question. Molly and her sister got into novelties business almost by accident. Molly, this and that. Occasionally, she and set up both for crafts for the, this is just the story, and reproduce some of the favorite resins using molds. The day came when the buyer for the major departmental store offered them to contract to produce 1500 units. So actually the story simply is they are creators and they have produced some product figurines, and right now we will consider it as unit. As an accountant, we are interested in calculations. So 1500 units or varied designs for $10,000. It means they have got the contract of 1500 units and they can sell it for rupees $10,000. Realized that it was time to get down to the business. To make bookkeeping simple, Molly had priced all of the figurines $8. What is that mean for us? There are several designs. Please underline it. There are various designs, and obviously when designs are different, their cost can be different and their sale price can be different. But what they are doing, they have fixed the sale price per unit for all of the unit of various design. Variable operating cost as an average is 6 per unit. I've told you that there are various designs. When designs are different, cost can be different. That is why average, the word average is used for variable cost. Anyhow, we can note it down that we got our sale price per unit, and that is described as 8. Look over here. Simple had priced all of the figurines as 8. It may be figurines or figurines. Variable cost average has been mentioned. Variable cost VC, and it is $6. And kindly keep it in mind, these $6 are average price. There might be cost a little different, and this $8 is also just an average sale price. Dollars we need to write. Okay, let's proceed to produce the order. Morley have to run industrial facilities for a month, which would cost them $4,000. It means no matter how many number of units are produced, they are taking place from the market, and industrial place have been used for which they will be paying $4,000. So it means not for only for this order, for whole month they will use that place for $4,000. In other words, if you are manufacturing 1000 unit, 10,000, 9,000, 1500, since you have hired that place for a month, you will have to pay 4,000. So guess what this cost is? Most of you will give the correct answer that it is your fixed cost, as you will pay it for a month. So $4,000 we have got as our fixed cost. Okay guys, now first thing, calculate Molly operating break even point. So first we will calculate at A, it would be break even in terms of point, in terms of units. and let me know who have formula for break even in terms of units. For this you need your fixed cost, and that would be divided by CM per unit. This way you can calculate your fixed cost. In previous questions, we have discussed it for so many times that fixed cost is a cost which will never be altered. No matter you are producing 1000 unit or 1 lakh unit, you will get the same fixed cost. Example which we have taken was the rent of factory building. In this question, same example has been taken. Fixed cost, a cost which would remain same, or cost which is not going to alter. This is your fixed cost. And example which we have seen was rent of factory building. Here it is easy to understand. No matter if you are working for 8 hours, for 10 hours, for 15 hours, you will have to pay rent as a fixed amount. If you are working for 1 day, 2 days, 13 days, 14, 15 days, whole month, you will have to pay the same amount of rent. So rent is an excellent example to understand the fixed cost. And here fixed cost is $4,000. This problem has been sorted out. We will put the same 4,000 over here. Then we need to have CM per unit. CM is what? It's contribution margin, and we have discussed it. Contribution margin is a difference between variable cost and sales. So what you will do, you will take sales and will subtract your variable cost. In this way, you will be able to calculate your contribution margin. Kindly keep it in mind, we need contribution margin per unit. So for that purpose, contribution margin per unit would be calculated. And for this, what you will do, same above formula would be used. Like we will use sales, but this sale would be for a single unit. Then you will subtract your variable cost, but again per unit would be taken. In this way you will be able to calculate your contribution margin per unit. And this we can do now. Sale price per unit is given in your question, that is $8, and you need to subtract variable cost. Variable cost is 6, so it means 2 would be your contribution margin per unit. Our problem has been sorted out. We have also calculated contribution margin per unit, and that is 2. With this, our formula would be completed. Fixed cost amount is $4,000. Please follow this formula, fixed cost, and then what we have to do, divide with what? CM per unit. CM, contribution margin per unit, has also been calculated. It is 2. Now we can calculate our final answer, and that is 2000. What it is? Break even number of unit of part A. Go up, and had written answer is mentioned over here. First answer is 2000, and we have calculated 2000. It means our answer is matched and we have completed it. Let's mark it as it has been done. A part has been solved. Now let's see what B part is saying to us. Let's go back to the question. Calculate earning before interest and tax on departmental store order. Look over here, they have received an order from departmental store to make 1500 units for $10,000. To get earning before interest and tax, obviously we will have to make contribution margin income statement. For that we need a little space. I'm not deleting, these figures are very important, so please keep it in mind. You will have to make this in your question as well. For this there are 3 columns needed, and we'll have to make more space. So let's put these figures little more up. From here we are starting our question. Let's put them over here. Everything is as it is. So at this stage we need to make a contribution margin format income statement, and this is our requirement. Okay, everything is okay. I was just wondering if something is wrong. At this first column you will write your units, then you need to put your per unit, and finally you will be calculating your amount. And how do you calculate your amount? Units would be multiplied with per unit. So in this way you will calculate your figures, and this is not arranged matter. Let's make it so that we don't feel any difficulty over here. Okay, statement would start with sales, and you will subtract, what is this? First you will write your sales, and then you will subtract your variable cost. You will get your contribution margin, and then again you will subtract your fixed cost. You will get your net margin, and kindly keep it in mind, this is earning before interest and tax. So in this way our statement would be completed. Here we will write the number of unit. So let's go back to the question, and you can see that in question it has been said 1500 units of various design would be sold for $10,000. So 10,000 total amount has already been mentioned. We don't have to calculate it. Otherwise we will need to multiply units and per unit. Units are mentioned 1500, but lump sum amount is settled down, that is $10,000. Per unit was not mentioned over here. That doesn't matter. In fact, per unit or units are here just to calculate total amount, and which has been mentioned in the question, and we don't need anything else after that. It was described that number of units sold would always be equal to number of unit of variable cost and number of units of contribution margin. As it is a matter of common sense, you will sell those number of units which you have manufactured, since in management and cost accounting we are associated with manufacturing concern majorly. So it's not a trade, they are manufacturers, they are creators. So obviously you will manufacture those number of unit, and same numbers you can sell. It is not possible that you are selling 1500 units while you manufactured only 1000. So number of units sold and number of unit of variable cost will always be same, beside number of units of contribution margin. Per unit sale price was not mentioned in the question, but per unit variable cost, look over here, variable cost at an average is 6, and we have already mentioned it. $6 per unit is your variable cost. Over here you can now calculate your total amount of variable cost. What you will do, units would be multiplied with per unit. Units are 1500, and you need to multiply it with per unit, which is 6. In this way your variable cost is calculated. It's time to calculate now contribution margin. Contribution margin would be calculated by taking the difference of variable cost and sales. Variable cost and sales. Now look at it. We don't have sale price per unit, that is why we will not be able to calculate contribution margin per unit. But yes, amounts are present with which you can calculate your contribution margin, which is difference between variable cost and sale. So what we will do, we'll write sales first, and then we'll subtract variable cost 9000, with which we can have the difference between variable cost and sales. So our contribution margin has been calculated. which is 1000. And for fixed cost, let's go back, and here we have mentioned fixed cost is $4,000, which was given in your question. Since a place has been taken on rent and $4,000 have been paid to the landowner, it means your total fixed cost is 4,000. So over here, now we are open to calculate our net margin, which is difference between fixed cost and contribution margin. Your fixed cost is 4,000, contribution margin is 1,000. So 1,000 minus fixed cost 4,000. You have got your net margin or earning before interest and tax. Look at here, quite strangely, this was the sisters, their first venture. And with first venture, the contract which they have got, they will have to face a loss of $3,000. So you can see at B point we have negative 3,000, and here we have negative 3,000. It means part B has also been solved, but it's not a good news for the manufacturer, both girls, sisters, since they have got the contract from the store and they are facing a loss of $3,000. B part is completed. Let's see what C part is requiring from us. If Molly negotiate to contract a price of rupees 10, what will be the earning before interest and tax? Since sale price $10,000 is not favorable or suitable for the manufacturers or the owner. Molly is the owner. Since $10,000 for 1,500 units led them to face a loss of $3,000. In C point, it has been said to negotiate the sale price per unit as 10. Now what you will do for C point, we will be making contribution margin format income statement again. We need to put units and then per unit, after which we need to put amount, and this amount would be calculated by multiplying units into per unit. Total amount would be calculated, and from here you will start your contribution margin format income statement. First you will write sales, and then you will subtract your variable cost. You will get contribution margin, and then you will subtract your fixed costs, with which you will get your net margin. And you know net margin is earning before interest and tax. Why we had made the second statement again? Because in question it has been said to change the sale price, and if we are changing this sale price, everything would be altered or changed. This is your contribution margin format income statement, or simply you can write income statement as well, but better to write contribution margin income statement, which would help us to calculate our net profit or net margin. And same heading we can use for first statement, which we have already completed. Okay, this was your first statement, and now we are making second statement. For second statement, number of units were 1,500. Same numbers we will use in B part as well. 1,500 for sale, and this column is not good for us. Let's unmerge it. Number of unit for C part 1,500, and we have described that number of units for sale, for variable cost, and for contribution margin. Number of units would be same. So it means whatever you will use number of unit for sale, same number of unit would be used for variable cost, and for contribution margin, same numbers we will use. After which we will see what would be per unit cost, per unit variable cost, per unit sale price. In C part, it has been described that sale price is 10. So over here you will put $10 as your sale price per unit. Variable cost would not be altered as it has been said. And in our question, we have discussed variable cost is $6 and $6 is mentioned over here as well. So put $6. In this part, we can calculate contribution margin per unit, which is difference between variable cost and sales. To calculate the difference, what you will do, you will write your sale and will subtract your variable cost per unit. You have got per unit contribution margin as well. Okay, now total amounts would be calculated for which units would be multiplied per unit. Separately, we will calculate. First, we'll see how much total amount for sales. Units are 1500 and you will multiply it with per unit, that is 10. You will get your total sale price 15,000. And now it's time to calculate your variable cost. Units multiplied by per unit, units are 1500, and then you will multiply per unit variable cost, which is 6. In this way you have calculated your variable cost. There are two options with which you can calculate contribution margin. First option, simple is this, you multiply units and per unit. So total number of units for contribution margin were 1500 and per unit contribution margin was 4. So this way you have calculated your contribution margin. Second option, since contribution margin is difference between sale and variable cost, so here total amount of sale was 15,000 and you need to subtract total amount of variable cost, which is 9,000. So you have got your contribution margin as 6,000. Same amount you have calculated with two options. So this 6,000 is now unnecessary to be written over here. We can erase them. This was just to let you know that difference between variable cost and sales could also be contribution margin, and units multiplied by per unit would also be your contribution margin. We are erasing it. Now it's time to put your fixed cost, which was given in your question, and we have noted it down. Fixed cost was $4,000. In question it has been mentioned over here. So with this 4,000, when we will put at fixed cost place, we'll be able to calculate our net margin, which is difference between fixed cost and contribution margin. So contribution margin over here is 6,000. To calculate the difference, we will subtract fixed cost $4,000. Now we have our contribution margin 2,000. It's now a profitable situation. Look over here. When $10,000 was fixed by the departmental store, these sisters were facing loss. And now they have negotiated to fix a price, fixed sale price. Look over here, price was not fixed. In this part, they negotiated to fix the sale price as rupees 10, with which what happened? Instead of facing loss of $3,000, now they are getting a profit of $2,000 at it is positive. So it is C point. Let's go back and you can see C, third answer is 2000 EBIT, and we have calculated it as well 2000. It means the answer is matched with the given answer. C part is also completed. We will now be looking forward for D part. If store refuses to pay more than 8, now in C part they have negotiated to fix the price as rupees 10. But instead of 10, the store which is giving the order to these sisters, they are saying we will not pay more than 8. So what will happen? Instead of this, they have said per unit price would be 8, no matter how many number of units you can sell. Read it. If store refuses to pay 8 per unit but is willing to negotiate the quantity, it means they can sell no matter, no fixed number of units would be there. They can sell as many number as they can, but per unit sale price would be fixed. And secondly requirement, look over here, what quantity of number of unit will result an EBIT of $4,000. This is little bit changed. You are required to calculate the number of units with which you can get a profit of $4,000. All right. For this we have a specific formula for target profit units. This is our D point. First we will use the formula and then we will prove it as well. So for this, target profit units are needed to be calculated, for which we have a formula: target profit, and you will add fixed cost and divide it with CM per unit. Okay, this is our formula, and why not we should write it in a proper manner. Abbreviation was used. Instead of this, we can write full form so that you remember it what it was. Contribution margin per unit would be used to calculate. Why it has been appeared? Okay, contribution margin per unit. This is formula to calculate the number of unit. We can also calculate target profit sales or amount. Okay, now let's put the amount. Target profit is given in your question. They want to earn $4,000 EBIT. Target profit $4,000. So put $4,000 over here and follow the above formula. You need to add your fixed cost, and fixed cost is mentioned 4,000 in the question. Put 4,000 beside. You need to have contribution margin per unit, and this would be calculated over here. As you know that contribution margin per unit would be calculated with sales per unit would be taken and variable cost per unit would be subtracted from sales per unit. To put the amounts over here, let's go back to the question and see. At D point, store is paying only 8 per unit. So sale price is 8, while variable cost we know is 6. So 2 contribution margin would be there. It has been taken as date. We need to subtract 6 and let's put a decimal beside it. Just learn, if you will put decimal, it would not be taken Excel as a date. Look over here. So 8 minus 6, 2. This is our new contribution margin per unit for D point. Come over here. What we were doing, target profit 4,000, it was given in the question. Fixed cost is already mentioned in the question, which is 4,000, and now we need to divide it with contribution margin per unit, and that contribution margin per unit is 2. This symbol is disturbing, so we can write per unit so that we can have the difference between this division and per unit. Okay guys, so we need to put contribution margin per unit, which was calculated as 2. Statement is completed. Now you can put it on calculator. 4,000 plus 4,000, 8,000, and you need to divide it with 2. This way you have calculated your target profit unit. That means if you will manufacture 4,000 number of units, 4,000 number of units, then you will calculate units with which you will get a profit of $4,000 as well. So it's a coincidence that everything is 4,000. Fixed cost is 4,000, target profit is 4,000, and target profit units are also 4,000. Okay, here you will prove it by manufacturing 4,000 number of units. This is your answer, 4,000, and let's see the answer. Over here you can see D part answer is 4,000 and our answer is also 4,000, though D part by answer has been completed. But what we are going to do, it is not compulsory to prove it as it has not been mentioned in question. Just for your learning, I'm doing it. So please be attentive. Here you will write again units and then per unit and then amount would be written, units multiplied by per unit. In the same way which we have described earlier, amount can be calculated when you will multiply units into per unit. Over here, as usual, you will write your sales and then you will subtract your variable cost, with which you will get your contribution margin, after which you will subtract your fixed cost, with which you will get your net margin or earning before interest and tax. So guys, we are going to put values over here. Since we have decided that 4,000 units when we will manufacture, we will get a profit of 4,000. For the time being, we are writing 4,000 over here, just to make sure, yeah, that our answer should be equal to 4,000 as we are proving it. Number of unit according to our formula 4,000, and you have well learned about this fact that number of unit of sale would always be equal to number of units for variable cost and number of units for contribution margin. So in this way you will complete your statement. Per unit sale price. Okay, go back to the question. This was your question. Sale price was mentioned as 8. So put 8 over here. Variable cost, as you know, that is 6. It would not be altered as in question. This is the only variable cost which is written over here. Nothing else where we were asked to change it. So your variable cost would remain same. At this stage, you can calculate your contribution margin per unit, which is difference between your variable cost and sales. Variable cost 6, sale was 8. Difference between these two would be your contribution margin. Over here, you will now be able to calculate your amounts by multiplying units into per unit. Units 4,000, which were calculated per unit sale price is 8. We have got our total sale price 32,000. Now variable cost would be calculated by multiplying units 4,000 with 6 per unit variable cost. You have got your total variable cost. Over here you can calculate your contribution margin. Same procedure you can use. Units are multiplied with per unit, units 4,000, and you need to multiply it with 2 per unit cost. We have got our contribution margin. Second way to calculate your contribution margin is to differentiate. Take the difference between sales and variable cost. Sale was 32,000. You will subtract your variable cost total 24,000. In the same way you have calculated your contribution margin. This was just for an understanding. You can erase it. Now fixed cost which we have used was 4,000. It would always be remain same. Kindly understand that here you are producing 4,000 number of units. In previous you were producing 1,500 units. So either 1,500 you have used 4,000, and for 4,000 number of unit you are using 4,000 fixed cost. It means that fixed cost will remain fixed. This is an excellent overview of understanding that no matter how many number of units you are producing, your fixed cost will never be altered. As we have put the fixed cost, we are now open to calculate our net margin, which is difference between fixed cost and contribution margin. Your contribution margin was 8,000 and fixed cost 4,000, and this is our proof. You can see that we have already mentioned this answer should be equal to 4,000, and we have got the 4,000, and we have proved that with 4,000 number of units, this company or both sisters can earn a profit of $4,000. So this was your D point, and 4,000 we have calculated through formula, and we have proved as well. E point, at this point molly cats come in different varieties, 15 different varieties, where the average cost is 6. The actual cost varies from unit to unit. What recommendation is just the theory. We will write some lines over here. What recommendation would you have for Molly with regard to pricing and or number and types of unit that they offer for sale. So from our question we have learned that if we have put the $10,000 for 1500 units, that would be the wrong step. So first learning, we are asked in the question to comment about pricing, about numbers, and for types. In B part, what we have done, there was no sale price. Collectively, we have put our 1500 units and we have sold them for $10,000. So what we understood, do not sell 1500 number of units. It would never be in your favor because you will face loss. First element we have discussed, and this would be your E point. Here conclusions are made, and first conclusion is don't sell 1500 units for $10,000. Okay, in B part we have concluded C part is saying same $1500 but with a better sale price. It means we have another conclusion, fix sale price per unit at least at $15. So this is second suggestion, to fix the sale price at least for at how many, $10. So here you have $10 for 1500 number of units. Units spelling, fix sale price per unit at least at $10. Second lesson or second suggestion for both girls. In D part, what you have done, that by selling 4000 number of units, you will get a profit of 4000. This is an excellent thing which we have learned, that number of unit, when you will increase, your level of earning would also be increased. So this was obviously an understanding. More number of unit you will sell, more profit you will earn. So these 2-3 lines are enough for understanding. Okay, let's go back to the question. We have calculated A part with 2000 answer, A part 2000, and then B part with loss of $3,000. Here you have calculated your B part where you have faced $3,000. Reviewing the question after completion is so important. Sometimes our tiniest part can let you know that it was missed. C part 2000 earning. Here you do have your C part where your earning was $2,000, and then D part was having 4000. This is your D part and 4000 answer. All answers were reviewed. E part was having just theory and we have mentioned it to do or not to do, as it was asked from your question to suggest. So we are saying not to sell or to sell or about the selling price that was mentioned at E. Don't sell less than 1500 units or 1500 units for $10,000. Fixed sale price at least 10, with which you will earn profit. And from last part we have seen sale large number of unit with which you can get your earning. These three conclusions we have made theoretically. So this was your 13.7. All answers are matched, and as I have shared sometimes before as well, that these are live lectures. I do not edit them, nothing is interrupted, nothing has been changed, everything is posted live. No, not even a single second pause was taken. So 13.7 has been completed, all solutions are completed, all requirements are completed, answers are matched, and finally we have reviewed the question as a whole as well. But even then, Solution is in front of you. If you have any problem of understanding, you may ask your questions or queries through messages, text, or you can directly meet to put your queries. I will surely be available instantly to answer your questions. 13.7 is completed and we will meet surely in future for solution of any other question. Up till then, please take care of yourself, and I'm requesting you to please pray for me as well, and a humble request to please repeat this question for 3 to 4 times as well. Alright guys, it's time to end our lecture. Thank you very much for your time. It's time to say goodbye. Allah Hafiz.